from all corners of the world to repudiate this brutal, this nefarious action performed by Israel against Iran. Let's recall that, for example, one of the main responders to this aggression was ALBA-TCP member states, who released a statement condemning this action. The communique states, the member countries of the Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of Our America, ALBA, categorically condemned the attacks perpetrated by Israeli forces against the Iranian people in a move that poses a threat to international peace and security in their attempt to control and seize the entire region and its wealth. Once again, the State of Israel is once again the perpetrator and culprit of the havoc and distress suffered by West Asia, completely disregarding the rules governing coexistence between states, now brutally attacking the Islamic Republic of Iran. This unjustified and irresponsible escalation of violence represents a real threat to the entire humanity with unimaginable consequences and a new Israeli transgression against the purposes and principles of the Charter of the United Nations. The United Nations Security Council is bound to put an immediate end to these aggressions against international law and the sovereignty of the peoples of the world. The Bolivarian Alliance expresses its deepest repudiation of this act of war and, faithful to the defense of peace, reiterates its full solidarity with the Iranian people and government in the face of this illegitimate and cowardly aggression. Caracas, June 13th, 2025. This was the statement of the ALBA-TCP member states in the face of this brutal, on this illegitimate, and this cowardly aggression that has been perpetrated by Israel towards Iran, with the total complicity of the United States, with the total complicity of other Western allies, like, for example, the United Kingdom. As our correspondent in Turkey was releasing, there were several airplanes, military airplanes, that were hidden in Cyprus Island with the complicity of these two powers, of the United States, of the United Kingdom, both of whom released a statement mentioning how this conflict should be resolved in a diplomatic way and in a peaceful way. However, behind the backs, this was also a known plan for them, a premeditated plan for both of those leaders. We were reading a few moments ago this reaction from ALBA-TCP member states. Also, there are plenty reactions that are coming from all corners of the world. We recently showed the reaction of the President of Bolivia, of the plurinational state of Bolivia, Luis Arce. This is just the beginning of this, of how the world is witnessing with indignation what is taking place in this moment in the Middle East, which is a brutal war, a declaration of war that has behind the real intentions the attack against the people of Iran. Now we are seeing in our screens the reaction of the President of Bolivia, Luis Arce. Also now we are seeing footage of the retaliatory actions of the government of Iran towards Israel. Now we are seeing the reaction of President Luis Alberto Arce from the plurinational state of Bolivia, and he said, "We strongly condemn the Israeli airstrike against the Islamic Republic of Iran. The attack, which has left victims and has caused multiple casualties in the capital Tehran, including the death of 2 scientists linked to the nuclear program and senior civilian and military officials. This is a provocation against Iran and risks generating further instability in the region. We express our deep solidarity with the brotherly people and government of Iran, and we hope for a swift restoration of calm." This is what the world needs. This is what the the leaders, the main leaders of the world are urging to bring the Middle East to peace once again, and to leave all the imperialist ambitions, aspirations aside, and think for once on the civilian casualties, to think on what the people really need, which is to develop in a sovereign way, and not through impositions, not through war, not through death and blood. This is all that is coming from the Middle East at this moment. Also, no, at this moment, and now we are also seeing another reaction. This comes from Cuba, the Caribbean island, where the Ministry of Foreign Affairs released a statement assuring the United States and Israel will have to respond for the consequences of an unjustified war against Iran. Cuba condemns energetically the attacks perpetrated by Israel against the Islamic Republic of Iran. The Cuban government is watching with extreme concern, the actions in the Middle East, and condemns energetically the attacks perpetrated by Israel in the early morning of June 13, 2025, and also the war threat against the Islamic Republic of Iran in a flagrant violation of the United Nations Charter and law and international law, including the principles of sovereignty and the no threat or use of force against the territorial integrity of any state. The aggressive policy of the State of Israel and its repudiable acts and irresponsible acts, not just possible by this military, financial, logistic and political support that is being guaranteed by the government of the United States, putting in a greater danger the stability and the security, the regional security, with consequences, with unbelievable consequences for humanity. Cuba reaffirms its solidarity with the people and government of the Islamic Republic of Iran and warns about the danger of a major escalation in the region in a major conflagration, that we are doing a call to the international community, particularly to the Security Council of the United Nations and to the General Assembly of the United Nations to exercise their responsibility, the main priority to maintain peace, to maintain international security, and to put an end immediately to this aggression and to the impunity with which the Zionist regime acts. The genocide against Palestine, they must stop like as an essence element. We reiterate once more that the peace in the Middle East goes through the solution, the wide, just and long-standing solution of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict that watches the creation of a Palestinian state, a sovereign and independent Palestinian state on the frontiers that were previously to 1967, with West Jerusalem as its capital. Havana, June 13th, 2025. This was the statement of the Foreign Ministry of Cuba regarding these events, these repudiable events that are taking place. Now let's see the reaction of French President Emmanuel Macron. He's referring that France is attentive to the situation that is happening at the Middle East, and also is showing us their support towards peace and peaceful dialogue at this moment. We are seeing the French position is quite simple, he said. We stand for peace, security and stability for everyone in the region. We don't want a Middle East with a nuclear armed Iran. This is what the President of France says, but we don't want a Middle East where Gaza remains under long-term siege. We believe the solution lies in stability in an Israel living in state alongside a Palestinian state itself, living in peace, and having recognized Israel's existence and its right to defend itself in the region. That's where we are working, and I believe this is honestly